everybody, and welcome back to Mama to Two Howeries. If this is your first time, welcome. Today we are going to be doing part 3 of this 5-part series of debunking the UK's factual findings in incidents involving Amber Heard and Johnny Depp through Elaine's PowerPoint. Let's jump in. All right, first incident today is going to be the factual findings of the UK High Court, Los Angeles, March 2015, aka the staircase incident. It is said that Mr. Depp hit Miss Heard hard and repeatedly, lunged at Miss Heard to hit her again, shoved Miss Heard's sister when she tried to stop him, grabbed Miss Heard by the hair with one hand and hit her repeatedly in the head with the other hand and destroyed personal property. Now, Depp did admit to rearranging Miss Heard's personal property, or destroy it if you want to call it either way. He did admit to knocking over some clothes racks and some shoe racks and so forth. If he wants to call it rearranging, I'm not hiring him to rearrange any furniture in my house. But I have done a deeper dive into this particular incident, and it is 5 people, 1 incident, and it goes over the 5 people that were there, what their witness statements were, what their testimonies were in the UK and in the US, and how they match or don't match Johnny and Amber, and which one holds more credibility. You can decide for yourself. So you can check that video out after this one if you would like, and I will have it linked. Next incident is Southeast Asia in August of 2015, known as the train incident. I love the little names that all these kind of have so that we can remember each of the incidents better, and we don't have to remember fully all the dates, because I'm sure it is very confusing for us because we weren't actually there. So I do like that they have the nicknames. But it says that Mr. Depp picked a fight with Miss Heard, hit her and pushed her against a wall by grasping her throat and holding her there, causing her to fear for her life. The court accepted defendant's account as true, relying on Miss Heard's contemporaneous diary entry, which stated that J, Mr. Depp, finally at one point found himself with his shirt wrapped around my neck. Amazing to think about the precision/coordination that required, considering the circumstances. He hit me several times. I don't even know how I wound up with this huge, rather annoying knot on the back of my head. So I would like to see this diary entry, if it exists. How do we know it is in fact contemporaneous? How do we know that she just didn't write these things and put them in these dates and ordered them? Gone Girl, there was quote-unquote contemporaneous diary entries as well. And so I would just like to see that. And if this happened, surely there was eyewitnesses because they weren't the only ones on the train. You know, there was train staff and such. So where is their testimonies? What did they witness? Did they just see all this go down and no one decided to say anything? No one decided to stop it? And even if it is between two celebrities or this, when something isn't right, especially people that don't really even know you, such as the train staff and things like that, who they don't have a dog in the fight, they can come forward during this and say, hey, stop that, don't do that. Or they could definitely be spoken with and saying, yes, I saw him do this, or yes, I saw her do this. Is there anybody that has come forward? Because in anything that we have seen throughout these trials, there hasn't been. The same with people such as the flight attendant on the plane ride. Where is this person that had these things happen to them? All right, let's go into pictures. First picture we have here, photo is not great, but this is what was introduced into evidence. Amber, from this, doesn't look like she has anything, but it is grainy, so we can say that maybe we can't see it because it's a bad picture, but we can see this under Johnny's eye that looks like a bruise. So he has a black eye. It doesn't look like she does. And these are people on the train. These would have been witnesses, whether they heard something, saw something, nothing. And they're just all going to smile for a picture like this massive fight didn't happen, or maybe it was taken before the fight. I don't know. But they were clearly on the train. All right, here's another picture of them on this trip. I believe this is at one of the hotels. And Johnny and Amber did not edit this photo. This is how it was put up on the Facebook page. It does have like a sepia, older looking type filter on it. But even with that, we can see that Amber's face looks blemish. Well, I would say blemish free, but I mean, like it doesn't look like there's bruises or broken nose or anything like that, but it does have this black eye again under his eye. And so if if they would make Amber look like she has nothing wrong with her face in this picture, why would they then why would they not make it to look like Mr. Depp's face didn't have anything on it either? They're not going to just edit one person's and not the other. Okay, moving on. Now here's this picture that came up the second time Johnny Depp took the stand, and it really wasn't a good time for Johnny up on the stand the second time. People say he probably shouldn't have taken the stand the second time because the first time did go well, and things can go wrong. Others think that he took the stand the second time on rebuttal because Amber then would want to take the stand a second time, which wouldn't be better. And in fact, her first time on the stand did not go well. as where Depp's did. But going back up on the stand a second time that he did they know that she would want to get up on the stand and have her final words and not let him have the last words, knowing her personality and how she is. So those are some things that people had talked about, but this photo is one that makes me question certain things. This would be the only one that makes me question it, because I don't know that I'm buying Johnny's excuse for him having the dark spot underneath his eye in this photo. He is saying it is because of the lighting and the way it looks. And while this photo was taken prior to the train ride, and he has this. So when he says that he received a black eye or a shiner from Miss Heard on the train ride, how does he have it prior to the train ride? Now, maybe it happened on this trip. At some point, maybe his timeline's messed up. Maybe he got it a different way. I don't know. But this one is just not adding up for me on Johnny's side. And so Amber does score a few points here. And it's not her scoring points by it being that she got injured, because I'm not seeing that either. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's going the way Johnny has stated in this particular incident with this photo. So just a lot of questions. If you know more about this particular thing and maybe can explain some of those questions away, please reach out to me or put it in the comment section, because I would love to know more. Now, this one is one that I found while I was looking on Facebook for that other photo that we had of Johnny and Amber in these outfits, with, like I said, I believe the hotel staff. So this is taken from that trip as well. And this is going to be Taya, I'm going to say. I might be pronouncing that wrong. But she was a licensed Thai tour guide at the train station in Bangkok. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I am going to mess it up. But she posted this picture with this status on here, and it says, "Love is not different from buying a lotto. You need to have luck too, because love is hard to find, hard to keep, and hard to forget, especially this case. I'm following the news about this couple, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It's because I'm Johnny's fan, and I have met them in 2016 during their visiting Bangkok." So she met them. She is a Johnny fan, and she posted this in May 6th, I believe of this year. And she has the hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp and hashtag Johnny Depp. And so, is she a fan of his movies and things like that? Is he a fan of him because of how he was when she met him? Did she see stuff? Did she see Amber do certain things? Did she care for Amber on that trip too? She didn't say any of this, but she is on Johnny's side. But she doesn't bash or say anything horrible about Amber here. She is just stating that she believes Johnny in this case and not Amber Heard. And I wonder if there is a reason for that, other than just her being a fan of Johnny Depp. But it was just something that I had found, and I thought that I would share with y'all. All right. This December 2015 incident that happened in Los Angeles. Factual findings of the UK High Court. Mr. Depp put Miss Heard in fear for her life. Again. She was in fear for her life the last time, so now she's in fear for her life again. By slapping her, grabbing her by her hair, and dragging her through the apartment, pulling out chunks of Miss Heard's hair, following Miss Heard upstairs and hitting her in the back of the head, grabbing her hair again, and dragging her by her hair up the last few steps, then shoving her at the top of the stairs, repeatedly hitting Miss Heard and knocking her to the floor, then headbutting her in the face when she stood up and bashed her nose. Depp conceded on cross-examination that this was true, and the court rejected this was accidental, as claimed by Mr. Depp. Now, in this last part, Mr. Depp said that yes, they did bump, hit, whatever, their foreheads touched, smacked, however you want to say it. That is what he admitted was true. He did not admit to anything else. He did not admit to hitting her, knocking her to the floor, any of that. And he does not admit to bashing her nose either, just that their heads hit. So that is what he means by that. But let's kind of go through these in visualizing this. Now, if he's slapping her, most likely he probably has the rings on. Not guaranteed, but probably. So you'd see, bruises and things, damage from being slapped with rings. And then he's grabbing her by the hair. He's dragging her through the apartment. Now, their apartment has some carpet. So you would expect to see maybe some carpet burns on her arms or her legs, her back, abdomen, something. And there's been no pictures of that, no mention of even any carpet burns. And then pulling out chunks of her hair. So when he pulls out chunks of her hair, as he's dragging her by it, he then, when he goes to drag her by her hair and grab her hair again, he's going to have to grab onto a different section of hair, because the section he was grabbing and pulling chunks out of previously isn't going to be there anymore. Okay? Now we have it where he followed Miss Heard up the stairs, hitting her in the back of the head and grabbing her hair again. Okay. So, Miss Heard is in front of him on the stairs as she's going up. So he is behind her, which, okay, he could have hit her in the back of the head. He could have grabbed her hair. Okay? That part in the scenario positionally makes sense. But let's move to the second part of the second or third bullet point that says dragging her by her hair up the last few steps, then shoving her at the top of the stairs. So, when he went from grabbing her hair again to dragging her by her hair up the last few steps. Now, does that mean that when he grabbed her hair, he now has gotten in front of her on the stairs and she is now behind him? Because that's how the positioning would need to be if he was dragging her by her hair up the last few steps. And then shoves her at the top of the stairs. Now, when he shoves her, are they off the stairs and on like a platform, and he's behind her and shoves her when they're at the top? Or is her back still to the stairs and he's in front of her, and if he was to shove her, she would have fallen down the stairs, right? So positioning is important in this story. All right, let's go to this next part. Dragging Miss Heard into an upstairs office, grabbing her by her throat, pushing her down to the ground, and punching her in the back of her head. Grabbing her by her hair, slapping her face, and screaming at her, "I'll effing kill you." And continuing to hit Miss Heard with closed fists, pushing her face into the mattress and pulling out chunks of her hair. So more hair chunks are being pulled out. And it can't be the same ones as previously, right? Now, she's been drugged into the office once they've gotten upstairs, I guess. And so he has grabbed her by the throat now, and he was pushing her to the ground and then punching her in the back of her head. So when she fell to the ground or got pushed to the ground, she would have had to been pushed facing downward, where the back of her head was where he could reach it, because he can't punch her in the back of the head if the back of her head is on the ground, right? Okay. Now, grabbing her by the throat. Was he in front of her and grabbing her by the throat just right there in front? And then if he pushed her down to the ground while grabbing at her throat, is he pushing her backwards by her throat? But if she's doing that, she's going to land face up. She's going to be on her back, her face is going to be towards the ceiling. So he's not going to be able to punch her in the back of the head from this position. So, but then if he has her by the throat and she goes forward to where she would have her face down on the ground, one that wouldn't be pushing, that would be pulling her. And he would have to get out of the way for that to happen. And then go behind her while she's on the ground and start punching. So his positioning would have to be changing a lot here. Or, scenario 2, is he grabbing her by her throat by having his hand wrapped around her, kind of going across, and he's behind her and his arm is around, and then he's grabbing her by the throat this way? And so yes, he would be behind her, but then he could technically push her while he had his arm wrapped around her from behind. But as she was falling, he would have to let go of her throat and get his arm out of the way as she fell, because otherwise her falling would be pulling his arm and everything down with her. And so and then start to do that. So it doesn't seem plausible. There seems like there would be a lot of things that would make all this very difficult if it happened the way it's described. So then she goes from the ground, but now in this last bullet point, she's in a room on a mattress with her face in to the mattress. And he's hitting her closed fist and pulling out more chunks of her hair. So there's going to be multiple hair spots of chunks of hair that we're going to probably think to see. But this middle portion doesn't state how she got from the office to the room with the mattress. If it's going in sequential order, it should say that in between the office and the mattress, how she got there. All right. Now I'm glad these are actually kind of like blacked out and can't see them because of the copier, but we're going to look at these pictures here. Now, was this, after all the stuff that we had just gone through, just in that little bit, and there is more to be described, is this what you were thinking that you would see? Is this the visualization of what somebody that had gone through that would look like? Because it's not for me. Now, she has this little spot on her eye right here. And then here, it's, I guess, there, but it's got a darker area right there that doesn't seem to have here. So that is something odd. And also, people have said that this looks like maybe some makeup ran. And here, I don't know if that's true, if she was using a makeup kit, bruise kit, whatever, and made this darker and filled it in more here, and that's why it's not here. I don't know. But something I also want you to focus on in all these different pictures in this incident is her hair color. Now, her hair color looks very light in this picture. Okay? And this is her in the bathroom. It's very light colored. Now, it also says that Mr. Depp pushed Miss Heard and grabbed her by her hair and dragged her from room to room by her hair. Mr. Depp hit Miss Heard with his closed fist, pushed her face into the mattress, and pulled out chunks of her hair. Now, this first bullet on this first slide apparently says how she got from the office to the room with the mattress. I don't know why this is listed after if it's in sequential order. And again, room to room, there's going to be carpet. And she's being drugged by her hair. That's a lot of dragging. So even without chunks of her hair being pulled out, you would think that her scalp would be very, very irritated just everywhere, because he's not pulling her by her arms, her clothes, her feet, none of that. He's pulling her by her hair to these places. So that is going to pull, it's probably going to cause some inflammation, a lot of different things maybe with the scalp and stuff. So we will look for that. And then it goes to repeat this with closed fist, pushed her face into the mattress. I don't know why that is repeated, because I'm not thinking that they went to the office, to the bed where her face was in the mattress, and then she left that, and then they ended up back in there with her face into the mattress again with the pulled chunks of hair, with the hits with his closed fist. That just seems repetitive, maybe to make it sound like it's worse than it actually is. Then it says in this next slide we have on here, the claimant got on top of Miss Heard and placed his knee on her back and the other foot on the bed frame while he repeatedly punching her in her head. The claimant screamed, "I effing hate you," over and over again. The bed frame splintered under the weight of the pressure of the claimant's boot. So, if his knee is pushed into her back and the pressure is so much that it's going to splinter the bed, you would think there would be a knee imprint, bruise, or something on her back. If it's that much pressure that it will break wood, it's gonna mess the skin up. The skin is a lot more sensitive than wood. Okay, now we're gonna look at the pictures that are in these two slides that we can't see here. First, we have the bed photo, and this big one right here is the one taken by Amber or Rocky, and this little one is from a different angle taken by Kevin Murphy. Now, if you have not gone and watched the video on lawn lumber that Rob does, he demonstrates the bed's accusations and how the boot couldn't cause this damage, but a knife could. And he shows you this. And I will have that video in the description box for you to go watch it. If you haven't, definitely go watch it. Subscribe to his channel. He has great stuff. But the fact that a knife could do this splintering, what a coincidence, because there is a pocket knife here on the bed in this photo. Look at that little pocket knife. And I don't know if it was accidentally left there or what. But when Amber was asked about that, she said she didn't know what that was. And that she did not splinter the bed with a knife. That is not how that happens, according to Amber. And she didn't try to explain a way that the knife could have gotten there. Like, you would have thought she might have said, like, "Oh, no, that's Johnny's knife, and, he carries that around in his pocket, so it must have come out when he was doing the stuff on the bed. It must have fallen out of his pocket." She didn't try to say anything like that. She just said, "I don't know what that is. No, I did not use a knife to do any of this. His boot did that when he did the things." All right, let's move on. Here is the photo of Miss Heard's scalp, and apparently a chunk of hair that she alleges that Johnny pulled out of her head from this spot. So this color, for one, as I've said, pay attention to the color, does not match this scalp hair color. There is carpet, like we stated. This is Raquel Pennington's finger pointing to it in this picture. I don't see roots. Actually, parts of it look like maybe it's cut or chopped or something. I can't even say that this is pulled out of a brush because it seems like there's too much, and that's not how things look when I pull them out of a brush. Maybe other people. But let's go over here to the scalp picture now. Now, it is red here, and looking at other parts of the scalp, here where you can see there doesn't seem to be any redness here, but it also looks like right in here, that looks like it's infected, and maybe there's pus. And I know that's gross, but if this happened the day before, the night before, between 12 and 24 hours prior to this picture being taken by Raquel, I don't think that this would look like this at this point. I just don't see it looking that infected within 12 to 24 hours. I am not a medical professional. Maybe it can. If any of y'all have had that happen and something like that has looked like that within the 12 to 24 hour period, let me know, and I will recant that particular statement of mine. So, and this is the only scalp picture of a chunk of hair that we see of being pulled out of her hair. Even though there was numerous times and places throughout this incident that he pulled chunks out of, this is the only picture we get. And not that one picture wouldn't be enough, but my thinking kind of goes with, if you get into a car accident and you are going to be taking pictures of the damage or the injuries to your body, you are going to take pictures of them at every part that is messed up. Parts that are messed up on your car, parts that are messed up on your body. You're going to take the pictures at different angles, maybe with different lights, up close, far away. Same thing with body injury photos. It's what you're going to do, most likely, because you want to make sure that you have good enough pictures or evidence to show for injury to yourself from another person or in a car accident. So you can show the insurance company and they can take care of this damage, or the other company can take care of all this damage. So let's move on to more things about this. All right, here we have Kevin Murphy's statement. And then he also put this picture of the hair on the carpet that Depp allegedly pulled out of Amber's hair. And he takes this picture, and you can see that this picture, even though the hair is blonde, the carpet is the same, the hair doesn't look the same. right? So, and he also is the one in this witness statement, he included that bed angle as well, because he had taken a picture of that too. So, here he says, Miss Heard told me that she wanted to show me something in the bedroom of Penthouse 4. I followed Miss Heard to the upstairs bedroom of Penthouse 4, and she showed me a tuft of hair that she claimed Mr. Depp had pulled out of her head the previous evening. Because I was suspicious of these claims, I immediately took a photograph of the hair with my mobile phone. I was subsequently shocked to see the photo on the internet, which had been produced by Miss Heard, showing the hair she claimed had been pulled out by Mr. Depp and an injury to her head. When I compared this to the photograph I had taken on my mobile phone, the hair looked quite different to the hair in the photograph Miss Heard had presented as evidence. I have exhibited the photo that I took of the hair, along with the photo that Miss Heard had taken. I believe the differences are apparent. I fully agree with that. And he says where the photos are located in the witness statements, and says, in addition, I understand that it is alleged by the defendant that in this course of physical abusing Miss Heard, Mr. Depp broke the bed frame of the bed with his boot, and says that he also had a photo of that, and he attached it as well into this. And he says that his photo is different than the one released by Miss Heard. So, one of my questions about kind of this hair being on the carpet, though, and it is the following day and evening, is why is it still there? It's just left on the floor for like 24 hours or longer, because like, why wouldn't that get picked up? Even if she had slept most of the day, I don't understand why that wouldn't have been picked up. You know, if they have the animals, I mean, granted, they stay in Penthouse 3, but supposedly she had passed out and fallen asleep or whatever on that mattress in that bedroom in Penthouse 4. So, where were the dogs? They would have probably messed with that hair too, or at least gone over there and sniffed it or something. I don't know. But I'm not understanding why the hair has been on the floor this entire time, and that it wasn't picked up, like, and taken a picture of a lot sooner. Like, you're gonna leave it there until people come to your house and you can point it out to them? It just seems odd. Now we're going to go up just a paragraph above the one that we just talked about, because I wanted to do the one previously before this part, because it had to do with the hair and the pictures of it, and so I just wanted it to be back to back. But this is what he had stated before. I attended Mr. Depp's penthouse at 849 South Broadway, Los Angeles, California, 90014, the penthouse, on December 16th, 2015. Shortly after I arrived, Miss Heard called to me from upstairs in the master bedroom. When I went upstairs, I found her sitting on the edge of the bed crying. Miss Heard said that Mr. Depp had hit her in the face several times, pulled out her hair. I remember standing roughly 4 feet away and becoming suspicious as Miss Heard did not appear to be wearing any makeup on this occasion, and there were no marks, bruises, cuts, redness, or swelling to Mrs. Heard's face, nor was there any area on her head where her hair appeared to have been pulled out. I believe she was waiting for a stylist and or makeup artist to arrive at this time. So, he was standing there, didn't see her. Now, Elaine would be like, do you know whether she was wearing makeup or she was wearing Amica cream or had used ice or any of that? She would ask those questions. Elaine most certainly would. But the thing here is, she probably wouldn't be. She would probably be fresh-faced. Her hair probably wasn't anything, maybe it was in a bun, ponytail, whatever. But she's not going to have done anything because her hairstylist and the makeup artist was coming over because she had the appearance on the James Corden show this particular evening. So I don't think she would have been wearing any makeup. I can't see her having makeup on, and then when her makeup artist gets there, they have to take off that makeup and then put on the new makeup. I would think that she would have already washed her face and done all that as she was getting ready for them to show up. So I do believe that she was fresh-faced. All right, more photos. Now, these photos are going to be in the kitchen. And again, I say notice the hair color. It is darker hair, and there is a few little blonde highlights, but majority of it is dark. Now, this hair color does, to me, match the scalp photo, but it does not match the hair that is on the floor, which doesn't match the scalp photo. Okay. Now, this photo here, it is apparently shown because there's bruising here, I guess, and then this is all supposed to be from the December 2015 incident. She has this little mark on her eye. She does not have that thickness of this part that she had in that one photo of her in the bathroom. And then this thing behind her on the refrigerator, a calendar, and it says Erin 2015. Now, the Andy Files, who Heir of Justice has been going thoroughly through, Eir being H-E-I-R. I will have her channel linked below, so you can go check out her videos and subscribe to her channel as she's thoroughly going over them. I will probably go over a few, but it could have only been January or February, but because this calendar has 31 days on it, it means that it is January. So, she either still has a January calendar up in December for that year, or this photo was not taken in December. And some may be like, but Mama, I have old calendars still in my fridge because I forget to take them down. I have done that before too. Now, could that be something that happens? Yes. Does it work that way with celebrities who have a lot of different things and actually have like housekeepers and personal assistants and everything to keep them organized? I don't know. I would think that they would have more current stuff up there, not stuff from 12 months prior. And this marking and the bruise here, some people say that it could be from Botox and getting that. I have seen bruises from Botox. It is consistent with those types, but let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Now here is her appearance on the James Corden show the day after the incident for December 2015. And she states that she went on this show with a busted lip, 2 black eyes, a busted nose, and broken ribs. Now, it hurts to move if you have broken ribs. Any type of movement pretty much hurts. And if you have a busted nose, it's going to have swelling. No amount of makeup or Amica cream is going to cover that up. And ice doesn't cover swelling. It can reduce swelling, but it does not cover it up. And remember, this is within 12 to 24 hours of this incident happening. And the busted lip, you would, if it was actively bleeding, as her and Nurse Falatti, or Nurse Borum, depending on which name she is going by at the time, you would not want to do your mouth in this form. You would not want to have it wide open like that, because this would just reopen the wound if it had stopped bleeding. And it would probably hurt to put your mouth in those positions. I don't know about the pursing of the lips, maybe, but the lips with the claw fingers here and the opening of the mouth here, like looking like she's screaming, definitely would. Now, some people say that they do see swelling in these. I do not. To me, they look just the same and equal, but it is a photo. Also, it says she stated that they used a matte lipstick, and her makeup artist said this as well. And there's been other makeup artists that have come out and said that you would not use a matte lipstick on somebody with a lip that was actively bleeding still, because if it does bleed or starts to bleed, you're going to want to use more of a gloss, because it's got a wetter look and it's going to blend in a lot better if there is any blood there, whereas a matte, it is more dry. You can see more crevices usually and cracks, and it would just show a busted lip and all of that more. Now, personally, I don't think that if you have a busted lip or an open sore, you probably shouldn't be putting gloss or lipstick, matte or not, on them. It doesn't seem wise to me. But in this picture, notice her hair color. It is very blonde. Now, this blonde matches the hair on the carpet, but it does not match the photos in front of the fridge or the scalp photo. Now, is she going to say that she dyed her hair before her appearance? Because if she has that injury to her scalp from the chunks of hair being pulled out, Getting your hair colored is not going to be good and most definitely would cause infection. And it would probably hurt, especially with blonde, because that stuff burns when you don't have sores on your head. So I don't think that she dyed her hair in between her photos from before and to the show. So how do you explain the different hair colors, Amber? I would like to know. Now here is part of Dr. Kipper's deposition about the December 2015 incident and some paperwork. All right, so let's play this.
Alex, could you please bring up what I believe was marked as Kipper Exhibit 17? Dr. Kipper, you recognize this document from earlier in the deposition?
Yes.
It's a letter dated March 15th, 2015 from you to Mr. Depp, correct?
Correct.
And you did send this letter to Mr. Depp, correct?
Correct.
Alex, could you please pull up what I've marked as document K, and I believe will be Kipper Exhibit 35? Dr. Kipper, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And what is it?
If you could just, for my verification, can you scroll down to the bottom, please?
Sure. It goes on for 2 pages.
Yes, I'm familiar with this document, yes.
There are 2
Did you prepare
errors
this
on this
document?
document.
No.
Is this a document that was prepared by someone who works for you?
This was prepared by Monroe Tinker, who is...
Alex, could you please bring up what I believe was marked as Kipper Exhibit 17? Dr. Kipper, you recognize
And we have
this
not heard
document
from
earlier in the
Monroe Tinker.
deposition?
I haven't seen
Yes.
anything from him.
It's a letter dated March 15th, 2015 from you to Mr. Depp, correct?
Correct.
And you did send this letter to Mr. Depp, correct?
Correct.
Alex, could you please pull up what I've marked as document K, and I believe will be Kipper Exhibit 35? Dr. Kipper, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And what is it?
If you could just, for my verification, can you scroll down to the bottom, please?
Sure. It goes on for 2 pages.
Yes, I'm familiar with this document, yes.
Did you prepare this document?
No.
Is this a document that was prepared by someone who works for you?
This was prepared by Monroe Tinker, who is a nurse practitioner who worked for me at that time.
That was good to know because I didn't know what HPI meant.
Is this a record that's ordinarily prepared and maintained in the course of your business?
Yes.
And have you reviewed this document before?
Yes.
When would you have reviewed it?
I reviewed it immediately after the visit, probably
So she said
the
she
next
stood up
day.
and she got a headache.
And I also reviewed this a couple weeks ago.
And I'd just like to direct your attention to the last page. Is this your signature here?
Yes.
And when would you have signed this?
That's not
That
good,
was
that there's an
confirming
error
that
in this
I
medical document.
reviewed Mr. Tinker's notes.
Going back to the top, this is a patient record for Miss Heard, correct?
Yes.
And this, where it says date December 17th, 2015, is that the date of this, that's the date of this document?
Yes.
And the document states phone call consultation headache, correct?
Yes.
So does that mean that on December 17th, 2015, Ms. Heard called the offices to report a headache?
Yes.
And right below this, there's a paragraph that starts out with HPI. What does that stand for?
History of present illness.
And is the information in this?
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right here for a minute. Now, it's not good that there's a date discrepancy listed for her last visit, because is it that she was last seen in the office in December of 23rd in 2014? Because obviously they can't predict when her last visit is in the for a past visit in the future. So that is not good. The other one here that they're not going to mention, but Amber does bring up in her deposition, or not deposition, is in testimony, where Amber gained a few points and Johnny's team should have looked more into it, is that here on general it says well-nourished male. And we know that Amber is not a well-nourished male. She is a female. So that's two discrepancies in this medical record of her visit on December 17th. And the problem with that is that if those things are wrong and those two things are not accurate, how do we know that everything else in this record is accurate? And that's a hard hurdle. Now, there could have been a date wrong, maybe the way they have it, and if they click things and stuff like that, that it did that, or, sometimes when we write the dates, it can autocorrect something, or you don't change the year, or you just write the wrong date. And in trying to write the female, forgot to put FE at the beginning of it, and those could be the only things actually mistaken in it, and everything else be right. And there are, and this is apparently taken, is a phone consult for a concussion check on a headache that she says that she got while standing up. Now, she states that she was trying to protect Johnny and not actually stating while why she ended up with this concussion and stuff like that. She was protecting him and didn't want to say those things, so she made up something, which she could have done because we know that Johnny did that in Australia when he had talked to the doctors about his finger. All right, let's do this again.
Paragraph what Ms. Heard reported during her phone consultation.
That's what's written. I was not there, but that's what's written.
States today the patient reports a headache after she bumped her head while standing up 2 days ago, correct?
Yes.
And a couple sentences below that it says last seen in the office on 12/23/2015. Is that an error, or did she come back in later?
No, I think that's got to be an error.
So based on this document, it's your understanding that Ms. Heard called the office on December 17th.
Yes.
Going down to the bottom here, it says objective data physical exam. Do you see that?
Yes.
Does that mean that Ms. Heard came into the offices for a physical examination?
That's what it signifies, yes.
And would that have also been on December 17th, 2015?
Yes. This note reflects that visit. Everything in this note reflects that visit.
And so Monroe would have also performed that physical examination?
Monroe did perform that physical examination. I did not see Miss Heard. Monroe saw Miss Heard.
And the information below this heading of physical exam, which goes on to the next page, are these the findings from Ms. Heard's physical exam on December 17th?
Correct.
And if Ms. Heard had any physical injuries, would those have been noted in this portion of the document?
Yes.
And there are some medical terms in here, but so if you could let me know, does any of this indicate that there were physical injuries that were documented?
No.
Does this document indicate that a concussion check was performed?
Yes.
And what were the results of that?
Under the assessment and plan as written, Mr. Tinker did not indicate concussion under his assessment.
Under assessment and plan, item 4 says that Dr. Kipper is aware of the medical plan and is in agreement. That's consistent with your recollection?
Yes.
And I believe you testified you didn't see Ms. Heard on December 17th, correct?
That's correct.
How were you informed of the medical plan?
I spoke to Mr. Tinker by telephone.
And would that conversation have happened on the 17th as well?
Yes.
So she does state that she
Could
did
you please pull up document L?
see Monroe on a visit in December. I don't know why the video just did that. That was weird.
And I believe this is what will be marked as Kipper Exhibit 36. Dr. Kipper, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I recognize it upon looking at it, yes.
What do you recognize this document as?
as an email from Ms. Hurd to me requesting medical records for that month of December.
December 2015?
Yes.
And do you recall receiving this email?
I don't recall receiving it, but I'm sure I did, and I'm sure I reviewed it. Yes.
And you see that the email is dated August 8th, 2016, correct?
Yes.
And you have no reason to doubt that you received the email on or around that date?
Right.
On August 8th, 2016, was Ms. Hurd still your patient?
I believe so, but I can't be sure.
Now, I'm going to read from this email here. Ms. Hurd writes to you, as per our conversation earlier, is it possible to get my medical records from the month of December, please? I know I saw Monroe during one of my office visits, if it makes it easier for you to find. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was great talking to you. Ms. Hurd references speaking to you earlier in this email, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall having spoken to Ms. Hurd before receiving this email?
I can't remember.
You don't remember anything
Interesting,
about
because
a conversation that you might
this
have
is
had
taken
with
in
Ms. Hurd prior to
21.
receiving this email?
Would have been like
I can't
2018.
recall that.
Would have been years after.
And I believe you already stated this, but
the
you
divorce.
understand Ms. Hurd to be requesting medical records from December 2015, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Hurd mentions Monroe in this email as well, correct?
Correct. And
Monroe is the nurse practitioner that Ms. Hurd saw on December 17th, 2015, right?
Yes.
Did you provide Ms. Hurd with her medical records for December 2015?
I believe so.
All right, so that was Dr. Kipper. Very interesting that she continued to see him after her and Johnny broke up too. So let's go into the nurse now. We have Nurse Falatti or Nurse Borum, because she got married at one point, and it's going to go over her notes. And her deposition was taken February 4th of 2022, so about a year after Dr. Kipper's. Let's play.
16th, 2015 regarding this argument between Mr. Depp and Amber?
I don't recall a specific phone call.
Would you doubt that a phone call occurred if you wrote it down in your notes?
If I wrote it, I don't doubt that it occurred. I just don't have memory of it.
And now you see the note on December 17th, 2015?
Yes.
And you wrote RN in contact with client to notify her that she'd be 16th, 2015 regarding this argument between Mr. Depp and Amber?
I don't recall a specific phone call.
Would you doubt that a phone call occurred if you wrote it down in your notes?
If I wrote it, I don't doubt that it occurred. I just don't have memory of it.
And now you see the note on December 17th, 2015?
Yes.
And you wrote RN in contact with client to notify her that she'd be able to deliver medications to her home. RN waited at door for several minutes after knocking. Client greeted RN at door looking disheveled. Hair appeared unbrushed. Client appeared weepy and sad. Posture is slouched. Client told RN about argument with husband. RN offered emotional support but reminded client that RN could not stay as was on duty with another client and was only visiting in order to deliver medication. Per client, she had not had contact with husband since altercation. Client had visible bright red blood appearing at center of lower lip. When RN made client aware that she was actively bleeding on her lip, client stated it was from injury sustained in the, and then it's blank. You see that? And then we can keep going down in the argument between her and her husband, and that it continues to bleed actively. You wrote that?
Yes.
And then you also wrote clients also states that her head is bruised and that she lost clumps of hair in altercation. You wrote that?
I assume so. It's in my notes.
Okay. And then you wrote, RN briefly looked at client's scalp but was unable to visualize the hematomas client had described. You wrote that?
Yes, I would agree.
And then you wrote, RN
Okay, so
encouraged
she
clients to be
did
seen by physician
go and
Dr.
get
Kipper or go to
physically
emergency
monitored
urgent
by,
care
or
for
looked at him by
thorough
him
assessment. You see
after
that?
the phone call.
I do.
And then you wrote, client states she will contact Dr. Kipper tomorrow. Client is supported by friends Rocky and IO who will be staying in client's home with her. You wrote that?
I agree, yes.
Okay. And then on December 18th, 2015, you wrote, client states she went to Dr. Kipper's office and was assessed by NP Monroe T as Dr. Kipper was out of the office. You wrote that?
Yes.
All right, so that is what she stated, and it just saying that Amber told her a bunch of things. The only thing she saw was her lip bleeding. She didn't see any hematoma or anything in her scalp where her hair had supposedly been pulled out, and that she needed to probably go to the doctor and get checked out and notify Dr. Kipper. And she was consuming red wine. And told her nurse, Amber, told Erin that she would consume it in moderation. And that Io and Rocky would be staying with her and supporting her. So she didn't see anything other than Amber drink wine and the lip bleeding, which could be from picking her lip or biting her lip. And she has this lip injury a million times throughout her life, before and after Johnny. The last $1 million question in this incident is this photo of the wine bottle being knocked over and wine spilt here from this December 2015 incident? Or did it happen in May 2016? Because it was entered into evidence on both. So which is it? And Amber said, well, if we took the metadata and removed the redacted part here, which is this black box you see over here, off, then I would be able to tell you when it was from. And Camille said, no, this is how it's entered. We can't remove that because it wasn't entered into evidence unredacted. So we don't even have the unredacted version of this because Amber didn't turn over a lot of her stuff with all the metadata and everything with it. Things were edited, things were just not, or she just didn't turn over a period in certain circumstances. But Amber's response to all of that was, well, there's so many incidences with so many pictures of all the times that he beat her up and destroyed the houses that she's not going to just fully remember off the top of her head when a picture of a floor with some wine spilt on it happened. And that it doesn't work like that. She just can't remember because there's so many. And then Camille points to her and says, well, did you not testify when this was entered into evidence, talking about December 2015 on direct, that this was from that date? She says, I don't know if I testified to that. And then she pulled it up again with a different exhibit number, and she said, and did you not testify that yes, this was from May 2016? And it's like, again, I don't know. I can't remember it, which one it is. That's why I wanted to look at the metadata. And then Amber proceeds to tell the jury about what metadata is and how it would help solve this mystery. And Camille's line was, if you're telling the truth, you would remember what date it was from. So that is a question that we would all like to know. When was this picture taken? That is it for part 3. I will get parts 4 and 5 up very, very soon. Hopefully, all parts will be up by no later than Tuesday. And I am so sorry about this being delayed. Just had a lot of issues with certain things. But definitely check out Arab Justice's channel, Law and Lumber's videos. I will have witness statements in the description box if you want to look at those in full. And until the next video, I will see you soon. Smash that like if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on if you want to see the part 4 and 5 coming out soon and when it drops. And you can also go and click on parts 1 and 2 if you haven't already seen them. You do not have to watch these in any particular order of this series. Bye!